Imagine this. A proposal so audacious it aims to transform an entire continent. We're talking a new constitutional blueprint, really unlike anything we've seen before.
Yeah, picture it. A united Africa, maybe? A single digital currency, a presidency that rotates every single year, and get this, completely open borders for all its citizens.
Exactly. And today we're diving into that extraordinary vision, the reported One Africa Constitution. Some are even calling it the Constitution of the United States of Africa.
And this isn't just, some think tank paper. It's supposedly a leaked draft. It details how Africa's 55 countries might actually be governed as one entity.
Right. Our deep dive today is based on these exclusive excerpts we found from the YouTube channel SABN Highlights. They have a video called Breaking Inside the Reported One Africa Constitution, How the Continent Will Now Be Governed.
The presenter there, Tukunda Mabika from Southern Africa Breaking News, claims they got hold of a classified draft of this, revolutionary document. Yeah, pretty bold stuff.
It really is. So our mission here is to unpack this incredibly ambitious plan. We want to look at the proposed structure, governance, economy, understand the history behind it, which is deep.
Definitely. And the potential impact, right, on Africa, obviously, but also on the rest of the world.
Yeah. We want to explore why this vision seems to be hitting such a chord right now. What could it actually mean for global power, for who controls resources, and, really for the future of every African child? We're hoping to give you a shortcut to understanding what could be a truly monumental shift.
It's a lot to cover.
It is. So let's start with that historical vision. The dream of African unity, it's not new, is it?
Oh, not at all. It goes way back. The source material itself reminds us of figures like Kwame Nkrumah, Muammar Gaddafi, Thomas Sankara.
Icons.
Absolutely. People who, as the source puts it, dreamt of it, fought for it, and died for it over the last 60-plus years. But now, it seems that dream might be moving from rhetoric to, an actual detailed plan.
Okay, so let's dig into how this specific document starts defining what Africa even means in this context. There's a point about the number of countries, right? 55, not 54.
Yeah, that's insightful right from the start. It immediately signals, African agency. The UN typically recognizes 54 African nations.
Right.
But this constitution talks about 55. That difference is the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, or Western Sahara. The African Union, which is described as the continent's supreme political body, recognizes it as a full member.
So it's making a statement.
Exactly. The source quotes the principle. This constitution isn't for what the world approves, it's for what Africa chooses. It's setting a precedent from the get-go, defining itself.
And that sets the tone for the core principles, doesn't it? Governance based on African choices.
Yes. The vision laid out is governance not under a dictator, not under one superpower, but instead under rotating leadership, state-level democracy, and this idea of continental solidarity.
That's a deliberate assertion of agency right there. Okay, so foundational principles are set. How does this constitution actually translate that into, practical governance, especially around leadership, which is always tricky?
Well, the draft proposes what it calls a beautiful system, which is quite a description. It's a rotating presidency.
Rotating how often?
Annually. It shifts from one country to the next. Every single one of the 55 countries gets one full year to lead the continent, and then they pass the baton.
So like Ghana in 2027, maybe Zimbabwe in 2028, Malawi 2029, something like that.
Precisely. The idea is no more long-term presidents for life, and also, interestingly, no foreign-backed puppets. It's framed as ensuring equal opportunity.
And giving every country a shot.
Yeah, the idea that in one lifetime, your country gets a chance to shape continental policy. It's quite powerful.
It is. But what happens to the current presidents or heads of state in this model?
That's another radical part. They essentially become state governors. They're described as administrators and, significantly, servants of the African Parliament.
Servants of the Parliament. Wow. And are there limits on these governors?
Yes. Strict term limits. A maximum of 2 5-year terms. And they have to be democratically elected.
So still democratic at the state level.
Right. And this structure, you see, it directly tackles those historical issues of political instability, presidents overstaying, maybe corruption, by embedding accountability and decentralizing power.
It sounds incredibly democratic on paper, but, an annual leadership change for a whole continent, 55 diverse nations, Wouldn't that create chaos? Like, how do you maintain policy continuity or even negotiate internationally?
That's a fair question. The document tries to address this with strong oversight mechanisms, these governor elections. They'd be managed by a Continental Electoral Commission.
Centralized oversight.
Yes, and monitored by a non-aligned African court system.
Yep.
The stated aim is explicit. No more rigging, no more overstay.
Okay, and what are these governors actually meant to do?
Their responsibilities are clearly laid out. Maintain peace within their state, facilitate trade, enforce continental laws, and this is key report monthly to the African Union Parliament.
Reporting monthly. So accountability is built in. It really is a complete overhaul, moving power from individuals to institutions.
It's a fundamental shift from personal authority to collective service and institutional checks.
And this collective idea extends to where the big decisions get made, the African Union Parliament you mentioned.
Exactly. The document names South Africa as the chosen administrative capital, the place where this parliament would sit.
And its role.
Pretty much everything major.
Right.
All major decisions, laws, declarations, trade agreements, sanctions, foreign policy will be made there. It's the central legislative and decision-making hub.
Okay, how would it actually work? Who sits in this parliament?
Each state sends 5 elected representatives.
Yeah.
And this is interesting. 1 is the governor, but 2 are specified as advisory citizens who are explicitly non-politicians.
Non-politicians, that's unusual. Why?
The implication seems to be bringing in diverse perspectives, maybe expertise outside of pure politics. Keep it grounded, perhaps?
And how are decisions made? Simple majority.
Majority vote, yes.
Yeah.
Explicitly not presidential decree. And they've emphasized transparency sections would be live-streamed publicly.
Live streamed.
Yes, and translated into 6 major African languages. It paints a picture of, well, governance happening out in the open.
That combination, non-politician advisors, live streams, multilingual access, it really does make you think about what continental democracy could look like. It's quite radical.
It is. It's aiming for checks and balances and broad participation on a scale we just haven't seen.
Are there other institutions mentioned that support this parliament?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's presented as a whole ecosystem. There's mention of an African Supreme Court, an Africoin Reserve Bank, we'll get to that currency, an AU Technology and Science Agency.
So, specialized bodies.
Right. And even, touchingly perhaps, a spiritual peace garden named after Desmond Tutu. It suggests a holistic approach, not just politics and economics.
Okay, a really comprehensive political vision. But you mentioned the economy, the Africoin. A continent needs a strong, unified economy too, right?
For sure. And the economic vision here is just as transformative as the political one. It's all about self-reliance and connection within Africa.
Starting with this one Africoin.
Yes, a single digital currency managed from Addis Ababa, but the crucial part is what backs it.
Okay, what does back it? This is where it gets interesting.
It's not just faith or, government decree. It's explicitly stated to be backed by African gold, lithium, mentioning Zimbabwe and DRC, specifically oil from Nigeria, Angola, Libya, coffee from Ethiopia, Uganda, cocoa from Ghana, Côte d'Ivoire.
So, backed by tangible, valuable resources the continent actually possesses.
Exactly. It's a bold step, creating this integrated economic ecosystem, using Africa's own vast resources to build internal wealth, a model you don't really see elsewhere.
And they mentioned blockchain. How does that fit in?
Yeah, for tracking transactions. The idea is leveraging that immutable, transparent ledger system. Every transaction recorded, publicly verifiable.
So, fighting corruption.
That seems to be the direct aim. The source says, no more theft, no more looting. It's a technological attempt to solve a long-standing problem in resource management.
That's a direct hit at historical issues. What else is in this economic framework to boost self-reliance?
There's this concept of a continental resource pool.
How does that work?
Each state contributes 10% of its major exports into a shared fund.
And that fund is used for?
Supporting poorer states during droughts, funding continent-wide infrastructure building, creating borderless roads and internet. It's about sharing the wealth and building together.
And there's a trade policy, too. Africa for Africa first.
Yes, a core principle.
Well,
Before we sell to Europe or China, we sell to each other.
can you give an example?
Like Senegal getting its cotton from Mali, Zambia getting wheat from Sudan, Tunisia getting coal from South Africa, and all at a continental discount.
Fostering internal trade.
Massively.
Mm.
The goal stated is to lift intra-African trade to 60% by 2045. Currently, it's, less than 15%.
Wow, that's a huge jump.
It is. And it's tied together with free movement for citizens, free trade internally. All internal trade is tariff-free. Open borders, one shipping law, one trade portal. It's about creating one massive
Right.
single market.
That Africa for Africa First policy, though, it sounds powerful, but many African nations have really deep-rooted trade ties elsewhere, right? With Europe, China, the U.S. How would that transition work? Wouldn't it cause disruption?
The document doesn't seem to detail the exact transition mechanism, but it strongly implies a strategic shift, a recalibration. The underlying message is that the long-term gains of a powerful internal market will outweigh any short-term friction from adjusting external dependencies.
So the focus is inward first.
Absolutely, making the continent more self-sufficient, less reliant on external forces dictating terms. And the Constitution really emphasizes why this is possible.
How so?
It highlights Africa's incredible wealth, not just potential, but actual wealth. The world's richest minerals, gold, diamonds, platinum, the largest youth population, the highest solar energy potential, vast unused arable land, even spiritual strength.
Listing the assets.
Yes, and painting a picture of how they could work together. Coordination, not competition. Morocco, using its solar potential to power the Sahel region. South Africa building trains, maybe using Congolese steel. Nigeria refining fuel for all of West Africa.
Creating regional hubs and specializations.
Exactly. Rwanda and Kenya as tech and banking hubs. Ethiopia and Sudan potentially feeding the East. Zimbabwe becoming a major lithium battery hub for EVs. Gabon and the DRC protecting vital rainforests for the whole continent, maybe the world. The mantra is no more competition, now coordination.
This whole blueprint, it's not just ambitious internally, it's clearly designed to change Africa's place in the world. And you said the world is already reacting.
It seems so.
Yes.
The document isn't shy about it. It's framed as a declaration of a new global order, aiming squarely at redefining Africa's standing.
What are the whispers? What are these insider perspectives saying?
They're quite telling. One source, called The Scholar, supposedly a drafter, talks about blending ideas from everywhere but making it uniquely African, emphasizing no supreme ruler, only the people and their governors.
Okay.
Then there's an AU Sentinel, described as an intelligence strategist. They acknowledge apparently some quiet pushback from current leaders who don't want to lose control.
Understandable, perhaps.
But they also stress that the people are pushing, the youth, the diaspora, even some military figures are reportedly behind this drive for unity.
And is there any timeline suggested?
Well, a diplomatic ghost, supposedly a Pan-African negotiator involved, claims the basic framework has already been signed privately, the public unveiling, planned for 2026 in Lagos.
2026, that's soon, if true. And what about outside Africa? How are other countries reacting?
The source, SABN, mentioned a survey they did on American reactions. They reported responses like people being in tears, predictions Africa could outgrow America in 20 years, warnings that Europe should be scared.
Strong reactions.
Very. And for African Americans, reportedly, a sense of healing, a new reason to reconnect with the motherland.
And within Africa itself, what's the public mood, according to the source?
It's described as spreading like wildfire. People talking about one passport finally, no more painful visa queues. The idea of presidents becoming governors who actually answer to a parliament seems popular.
That accountability angle again?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's this powerful quote shared, supposedly from someone in Kenya. "We were divided by borders we didn't draw. Now we unite under dreams we do." That really captures the sentiment.
Wow. Okay, beyond public sentiment, are there signs of actual, geopolitical or economic shifts happening already in response to this possibility?
According to the sources, yes. They talk about economic shockwaves.
Yeah.
France and Belgium are apparently quietly restructuring deals in Francophone Africa. China is reportedly pushing for Africoin trade compatibility.
Interesting. Playing the long game, maybe?
Perhaps. And the U.S. Department of State supposedly held a closed-door Africa summit with a very pointed title: The Strategic Shift, Preparing for a Unified Africa.
They're taking it seriously then.
It appears so. And there's mention of a leaked European Commission document. Apparently, it's stated quite bluntly, if Africa unifies politically and economically, it will control the world's resource pricing within 2 decades.
Control the world's resource pricing. That's huge.
It points to a massive potential global power shift. Think about it. A unified Africa becomes the second largest population bloc. Globally, 1.4 billion people. The richest in untapped natural resources, holding like 90% of the world's platinum, 60% of cobalt needed for EVs, the world's youngest workforce.
The implications are staggering.
The Constitution, or the vision behind it, suggests Africa doesn't need to beg, it decides. African passports getting priority entry worldwide, African students leading innovation. African military coalitions enforcing peace on African terms.
And that line you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, the source's powerful assertion, Black power will no longer be a dream, it will be the operating system.
That phrase, the operating system, it really sticks. It's not just about aspiration. It suggests a fundamental structural change where African self-determination drives everything: governance, economy, education, defense. Moving from hoping to actually doing.
It connects all the political and economic reforms back to this deep sense of identity and really destiny for the continent.
Which makes you wonder, I mean, in a world that often feels more divided, what could this kind of collective self-declaration of unity actually inspire elsewhere? Could it reshape how we even think about what a nation or a continent can be?
It's a profound question. The document tries to make it personal, too. It paints this picture. Imagine it says, your daughter, born in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe, raised in Nairobi, Kenya, studies in Accra, Ghana, falls in love in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, builds her dream company in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
All within Africa?
All without needing a single visa, without worrying about currency exchange, without asking permission from some border drawn in the colonial era.
That's a powerful image of freedom of movement.
And it extends to education. Instead of curricula dominated by colonial history, kids learning about Queen Nzinga, about the complex mathematical systems of the Dogon people, reading the literature of Ngugi wa Thiong'o, studying the bravery of Thomas Sankara, the unity dreams of Nkrumah and Gaddafi, learning their own history and heritage.
Reframing the narrative completely.
The core message hammered home is, you do not have to run away from Africa to find success. Africa is no longer a place you escape, it is the place you lead. This Constitution is presented as their protection, the law that will guard the hopes of every African child.
It's meant to sound like
Ubuntu, the philosophy of interconnectedness, like freedom, like responsibility, like us. It's deeply rooted in African identity.
And the message to Africans today, the ones living through the current struggles.
It's a direct address to every African youth, every hustler, every mother, every father who works 2 jobs, every elder who wonders if the dream will ever be fulfilled.
What's the message to them?
That this Constitution is your voice in writing. It's framed as legal protection, political power, a generational gift.
A gift they give themselves, almost.
Exactly. The text declares, you are not powerless, you are not voiceless, you are not behind, you are standing on the edge of the greatest transformation in African history. And the crucial part, not because someone else gave it to you, but because you demanded it.
Wow, that's empowerment defined.
And the source material closes with this incredibly powerful declaration, framed as coming from the people themselves. We, the 1.4 billion children of Africa, do hereby declare that our time has come.
What do they declare?
We will rotate the presidency. We will share the wealth, where we will govern in daylight, and we will never again be divided by fear flags or foreign influence. We are not 55 nations. We are one soul, and now we are one government, one rhythm, one roar, one future.
One roar, one future. That's quite a closing statement.
It really is. A collective assertion of identity and purpose.
So we've just taken a deep dive into this reported United States of Africa Constitution, its unique governance ideas, the economic integration plan, and that incredibly powerful personal message it sends out.
It's astonishing in its scope.
It truly is. So thinking about everything we've discussed, the global reactions already starting, that vision for future generations, it leaves you with a big question, doesn't it?
Definitely.
How might the world actually reconfigure itself if this incredibly ambitious plan comes to fruition, not just economically, but culturally, politically, maybe even within our lifetimes? What happens to international institutions, to the established global powers, if Africa, as one unified entity, truly starts to, as the document says, decide rather than beg?
That's the multi-trillion-dollar question, isn't it?
It certainly is. Something for all of us to think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into what could genuinely be one of the most significant geopolitical shifts of our time.